Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today another powder coating video. This time we're talking a Dormant Hunter Green. This is a really sharp color from Columbia Coatings. This is it right here, and it's going to be laid on a bunch of these Duramax engine parts. Let me show you what we got. Alright, so we got a bunch of various pieces and parts and covers, water pump, housing, you name it, for a Duramax diesel engine. As you can see, most of this stuff has already been prepped. And by prepped, what I mean is this stuff come in dirty, whatever. It has to be degreased, washed down, and then it goes into an outgassing and a sandblast procedure. So outgassing, this is used aluminum. So the aluminum itself is got pits and is porous and it gets grease and grime in there. And even after you wash it, it's still embedded in there. So what you gotta do is you gotta cook it. And what I mean by cook it is we run it in our powder coat oven at around 425 for an hour or two, depending on the thickness of the part. Burn some of those impurities out of the composite that we're going to go ahead and spray. Now after that, it goes into sandblast. Sometimes we sandblast before. It depends on the situation. They're all a little bit different. And there's different techniques. Some guys do it before, some guys do it after, some guys do it both. Either way, it's got to be done. So there's a lot to that process. Now, the next step is to go ahead and tape off gasket surfaces or anything else you don't want powder on. Now, there's an alternative to that, and that is to blow it all out. Don't tape it off, just blow it all out and use a vacuum and wipe it all off your gasket surfaces after. And we do that in a lot of occasions, but in something like this, where we just want to keep it out of the inside altogether, we're going to go ahead and just tape everything off, spray it as an assembly. Again, here's our color. It's a Dormant Hunter Green. This is a fairly expensive powder coat choice. The customer, here it is painting the outside of their rig right here, this color. I'm not even sure what it's called, but it's pretty darn sexy. They wanted something that didn't match exactly. They wanted slight contrast under the hood. So he chose Dormant Hunter Green. This color requires, it's one of those partial cure colors. So we're gonna go ahead and lay down some outgassing primer, which is really good when you're working with an aluminum, and it's like a pinkish color. So we're gonna lay that down first. I'll take you through that. Then you go ahead and let this Dormant Green lay out. That's also a partial cure, which ends up looking like a silver color. It doesn't get its true color until you apply the Super Mirror Clear. So that's the third step. So as you can see, many steps to get to where we need to be. And today, we're going through them all.
I wanna taste the pain. I think I'm seeing all red. 2 bullets in the gun, 1 shot to the head. I need a blank space. 'Cause everything is a threat, but I never back down. Man, I'd rather be dead. I'm making love to fate. And she look better in bed. I'ma rock this life till I take my last breath. I wanna make a change. I got 1 life left, so I'm gonna go down swinging. Don't you forget.
So step 1, as I mentioned, was to degrease, wash, outgas, sandblast, and prep all your surfaces, meaning tape them off. That's more like 10 steps, but regardless, that's what you need to do first. Now we're gonna get stuff warmed up, because the shop is like 45 degrees. So I'll at least put them in the oven and get them up to like 80, 90 degrees. So it would be like summertime temperatures. Things just tend to flow better that way. And we're gonna go ahead and put that outgassing primer on. All right, there are many types of different primers out there. You got your white epoxy primer. That is a great primer for colors such as white. If you're gonna go underneath a light color or white, you don't wanna lose that color tone by going with like a dark primer underneath it. You have a zinc rich primer, so that's like an extreme environments, rusty, or something that's gonna be just really, I don't know, I guess what I would consider extreme environments, out by the ocean or anything like that. It's a really good primer. Our workhorse and primer we use a ton. It's durable, it's good stuff. It's our gray epoxy primer. We do a ton in that. But today we're using the Outgas Builder Primer. As you can see, it's pinkish. It's almost clear pink when it cures. And you can go on layers and layers of this thing. And what you do is you're gonna warm the part in the oven to at least like 175, 200. So it's pretty hot. It's almost like you're hot flocking it. In order to open the pores up on the aluminum, then you're gonna apply this, put it back in the oven for about 15 minutes total time in oven. You're not full curing this, you're partial curing this. And again, we're heating it up beforehand in order to open the pores in the aluminum up and soak in that primer. So our base coat, our Dormant Hunter Green, can actually sit on top and not like get into the pores and bubble out or anything like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and prep, get these parts warm, and start laying the primer. All right, I actually forgot I had a couple more parts. So there's a fair amount of parts we gotta get coated today. But as you can see, we just went through and plugged all the holes, taped everything up. That part there, the amount of prep work to get the part to where it needs to be to coat is a lot of times what customers don't understand, and they just think you're throwing powder at it and you're throwing it in an oven and you're done. But when you look at the time involved to prep and to get a part to where it needs to be, depending on the part, is a lot of time involved. So sometimes you have to educate your customers and make them understand what what they're getting for the money that they're spending and why. So just keep that in mind. All right, the parts are all loaded into the rack that we're gonna be rolling into the oven now, and we're gonna get them warmed up to open them pores up, 175, 200 degrees. Then we're gonna pull them out and probably throw 2 or 3 at a time on the rack here. Give them a quick blow down with compressed air, just make sure we don't have anything on them, and then hit them with our outgas primer, back on the rack. Then they're all gonna go in the oven for a partial cure, about 15 minutes or so, and it should all flow out. Then we'll pull them out. Hopefully they're good to go. If we need to put another coat, you can. And then we have our powder primer loaded up into our Vortex cup that we use over here on our Columbia Coatings Cool Coat 3.0 system. There are different systems out there. We have attachments for our system depending on what we're doing that we can do more and bigger batches of stuff. This isn't a huge batch. I'd like to use that Vortex cup. It works really well. But if you gotta get the gun in tight places, that cup could be in the way sometimes, so keep that in mind. All right, I just checked the part temperature with our temp gun, our laser temp gun here, and we're ranging anyways between like 170 and 200 degrees. So we're about where we want to be, that the pores are starting to open up. And now again, we've already outgassed these things, but we wanna open them pores up again to get that outgassing builder primer into those spots. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull them out of the oven, set some up on the rack here, and start laying on the primer. And I was only running one set of burners in the oven so we can bring them up to temperature slow, so everything kind of comes up at the same time. So out of the oven it comes, and onto the rack to get sprayed. And as you can see, it is a pink color. And all we're looking to do is to build that base coat, that primer coat up. So therefore, it helps seal in that aluminum so we can get that base coat to stick better. So really, that's it. All right, we got everything in our outgas high build primer right now. And now we're gonna go into the oven at, geez, what temperature is this at? I think it's at 400. Yeah, 400 degrees. They go in the oven at 400 degrees. We'll go 15 minutes. We'll open the door, we'll check on them. Could go up to 20, but probably 15 minutes will be good. Nothing really thick here for aluminum housings. They'll heat up pretty fast, and the oven's already at 400 degrees. So in the oven they go, and then we'll check back with you. All right, the prime parts are just about hit their time to come out of the oven, and when it comes out, it's a weird primer. It's not a solid, it's kind of translucent pink looking. It's not the greatest looking primer, but it does work well. So those come out of the oven. We're getting ready to prep our Dormant Hunter Green. Now this color is not gonna look like this color until the clear coat is on. So basically the same kind of thing as the primer. We'll take them out, let the parts cool down. We're gonna hit them with the Dormant Hunter Green. It's gonna go into a 400 degree oven, already preheated, for 15 minutes. So the parts will go back in for 15 minutes total time. That's not part temperature, it's total time. Then they're gonna come out and we're gonna lay on the Super Mirror Clear, which then is a total part temperature cure of 10 minutes at 400. All right, parts are out of the oven and they are hot, so you don't wanna touch them. As you can see that shade, and you can keep building this up, but what we're only trying to do, because we're already going to be doing two more steps on top of this, is seal those pores of all of those parts. So it's kind of like a translucent grayish pink color, kind of on wheels I've done multiple coats that were really rough. And as you can see, one thing I hate about this green high temp tape is it peels off frequently. So what we got to do is, once these parts, you can handle them, re-stick that tape, and then go ahead and start applying the Dormant, or the Dormant Hunter Green color. But we gotta get that tape stuck first. So you spend a lot of time putting that tape on, you gotta get it put back on. There it is. Now, keep in mind, once this flows out, it's probably gonna barely even be green. It needs that like, or it may be a shade of green, but it's not gonna look like it should look until we put the clear on top of it. So we're gonna let the parts cool, fix our tape, and lay this on. Now, as far as our machine setup goes, when we first had our first coat on, we had our KV set around 75 for that first coat. Now, there's a couple options you can do for the second coat. We're gonna try this option first. I just like it better when it does work. We're gonna drop the KVs down between 30, 35, so you're really dropping them down. But we're gonna continue to use our the same nozzle we had on our primer coat. Now, if we're having a hard time, it doesn't seem to be covering and getting in those Faraday areas, we're gonna go ahead and put our multi-coat nozzle on the gun, and we're gonna crank up our KVs all the way to like 100, 110. And we might even hit the pulse wave button, which really helps get in those hard to reach areas. So we'll see how it goes.
It's like Christmas.
And there it is before it goes in the oven. All right, Dormant Hunter Green is all on there. The tape is fighting me. It doesn't want to stick. So the last coat, the clear coat, I might end up just peeling the tape off and then doing the whole vacuum method. It is what it is sometimes with multiple. When you got tape on something and you got to put it in and out of the oven 3 and 4 times, forget it. It shrinks and it deforms and everything else. Someone has a better method than that, or a better tape, feel free to drop a comment on that. But this is going in the oven now, 15 minutes at 400 degrees total time in oven. That's a partial cure. All right, it's been about 15, 16 minutes total time in oven, not part temperature. It's very important to understand that with a dormant color powder. Now we're gonna pull this out. In my past experience, it's kind of gonna look more silvery green than just straight green, but I could be wrong. So let's pull it out. All right, you do. Now that tape's probably all gonna be falling off. Don't be alarmed by that. Yeah, it's silver looking. Literally tape falling off. But it's exactly like I thought. It's silvery color. All right, there it is. As you can see, right now you're like, eh. But this is the way dormant colors work. And some people think they're easy to spray. I find them a pain in the butt, and it's a multi-step process. And as you can see, we got good even coverage. That's what we want. And I'll double check them with the flashlight here in a minute. And then once they cool, we're either gonna retape them or we're just gonna go with a vacuum effect. I'm not sure. And then put our clear coat on and they'll be done. All right, now that the green is done, partially cured, I touched up the paint. Excuse me. The parts have completely cooled. It's only 50 in this shop. I put them back in the oven to warm them back up to like 80, 90. It just helped things, like I said, flow a little better. Now we're gonna apply the Super Mirror Clear. I'm gonna load up the gun. I'm gonna use the multi-coat nozzle, the one I showed you earlier here. And we're gonna run this KV cranked all the way up and give it a nice good layer of clear. It'll get good coverage. Oh, and Cletus is hanging out with us in the shop today. Say hi, buddy. So he's our new puppy. So he spends a few hours down here with us every day or so. He's still learning potty training. He's still figuring things out. All right, we got the parts out of the oven. They're warmed up about 80, 90 degrees. So just warm, and it just helps because the shop's cold this time of year. So the gun is loaded, our multi-coat nozzle's on. We're running at about 110 kV. Pressure depends on the amount of powder in the Vortex cup. So lower to start because the cup is quite full. I'm gonna go ahead and lay on a nice layer of that clear.
So that illusion will come through.
All right, there it is. Final step, we have our Super Mirror Clear applied a good heavy coat. Now this is where the green, or that Dormant Hunter Green's really gonna pop, hopefully, is part metal temperature. So when the part hits 400 degrees, then you start timing it, and that is 10 minutes after the part hits temperature. It's probably gonna take 15 minutes for that to even happen. But the oven's preheated to 400. I'm gonna put these babies in and see you in a few. One thing worth mentioning on these dormant colors, Just because your clear has flowed out, that's not the end result. That's why it's very important that the part hits 400 degrees and let it go that full cure time after the part hits 400 degrees. Because right now they flowed out, and I just peeked because I'm impatient. You can't see nothing through the window, it doesn't matter. And well, they still look the same, just shiny, but it'll come. Sorry, Cletus was just, you were just taking your sweater off, bud. But the time has come. It took him a while to come up to 400 degrees. 10 minutes at 400 degrees. They're there. Let's get them out of the oven. I'll set some light on it. But these are looking absolutely killer. Whew. I'm happy with that. Once they cool a little bit, we'll pull the tape, what's left of the tape off. I'll have a few gasket surfaces to touch up and clean, but all in all, that is nice. Real nice. Oh yeah. Be nice if it was sunny out in the daylight, I could show it to you, but man, that's beautiful. It's got a lot of depth to it too. I'm gonna go ahead and start peeling off all the what's left of the tape, and then touch up any gasket surfaces. I have like a 220. I lightly will polish them off if I have to, and I'll lay them all out and show you again. All right guys, here it is. Everything has cooled off, removed all the tape, blew them all off, wiped them down. They're done. They're ready to go. That is 7 pieces to a Duramax with more to come in a Dormant Hunter Green from Columbia Coatings. Now, we took you through the process of, they had been sandblasted, they had been outgassed, we had to tape them, then we had to get into an outgassing builder primer, then the base coat of Dormant, and then a clear coat. So many steps involved in some of these powders that take a lot of time. But all in all, I'm super happy with it. It came out nice. A lot of gasket surfaces to avoid and clean up, and it's a lot of work. So I do struggle with the tape shrinking on me, especially when you get into multiple coats. One coat you can get away with, no problem. Multiple coats, man, you better, I don't know, find better tape or get into wiping and vacuuming more. There's many different ways you can do it. But all in all, I'm happy with it. So with that being said, I think it's time that Cletus and I head inside for some dinner. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want to see more powder coating videos, we do a ton of powder coating. I don't do a ton of videos because, well, they take time to make. But on the process, on the equipment, I'm still learning every day, but I've been at it for four or 5 years now. So starting to get into the groove, but it's a never-ending learning curve. So hit that like and subscribe, drop a comment. Thanks for watching. Scott, Flippin' Customized.